USD-457 board meeting to order. First thing we'll do is item B, the revenue neutral rate hearing. Here to conduct the hearing and recommend adoption of the resolution to exceed the revenue neutral rate tax rate. Jessica Northern, Chief Financial Officer.
Okay, so I just kind of briefly summarized what we talked about at the last board meeting on the revenue neutral rate. As you can see, fiscal year 25, we proposed the 49.561. It actually ended up being the 51.071. And to stay R&R, it was 48.203. So asking for approval to exceed that 48.203. And the proposed budget is at 49.940. So still a decrease from last year from the 51 to 49. So decreasing the overall mill levy for USD-457. With that being said, the revenue, the value of the mill is increasing 27.8. So that will help also increase revenue for the district. Exactly what it means is general fund will increase 557,000, capital outlay 230, LOB 26,000, and bond and interest will actually decrease 72,000 because the reduction is mainly hit from the 51 to the 49 is mainly hitting the bond and interest fund. So overall, it's going to generate 956,000, but only 169,000 of that will be a burden to the local taxpayers. And so here is what was published in the Garden City Telegram and just lays out the 20 mills for general fund, 16.033 for LOB, 8 for capital, and 5.907 for bond and interest, totaling that 49.940. So that's all I have. I can answer questions if you have any. If not, I'll let you.
I declare that the hearing for the 25-26.
Mr. President, we've got to,
Got to take action.
open it up to patrons too.
Yeah, that's what I was doing right
Oh, I'm sorry.
now. That's what I was doing. I was gonna. Are there any patrons who wish to address the board? I'll take that as a no. All right. Are there any board members who wish to speak?
I will say I wish we were at revenue neutral. I had that conversation with Jessica and others. Really was hoping that would be the case this year, especially with the values increasing and whatnot. I understand why we're where we're at, but I still wish we were there. That's my 2 cents worth.
Yeah, I agree. You know, they worked really hard. Even though it is an increase, it's actually a decrease. So I do appreciate the efforts to at least do your best to try to lower it some than what it was. So I do appreciate everybody's hard work on that. Nothing else? I'd entertain a motion to adopt the resolution to exceed the revenue neutral tax rate for the 25-26 school year.
Mr. President, I move that the Board of Education adopt the resolution to exceed the revenue neutral tax rate for the 2025-2026 school year.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Jenny, we'll take a roll call vote.
Nathan Hake,
Aye.
Mark Heim,
Aye.
Robin Bergkamp. Aye. Randy Ralston.
Aye.
John Weesey.
Aye.
I'm marking Andy Farmer and Greg David.
Okay, I'd entertain a motion to close the revenue neutral rate hearing.
Mr. President, I move that the revenue neutral rate hearing for the 2025-2026 budget be closed.
In a second. All those in favor, raise your hand. Opposed, same. Motion carries. That is adjourned. Sorry, take up more of your space. Okay. I will call to order the budget hearing for the 25-26 district budget.
All right, again, I just summarized what what I presented at the last board meeting. So some of this information, I guess, feeds into the R&R, but state statute says that we need to consider the building needs assessment and state assessment scores into the budget. And so these are the things that the committee that was put together decided was most important. So when building the budget, I took all of these things into consideration: recruitment and retention, including PTO, benefits, negotiations, and college fairs, absenteeism, and how we can help cut back on our chronic absenteeism, which is 10 absences or more, or 10% or more. And then the ESL needs of the district, where we have implemented where the district pays for all the 2 ESL courses, and the addition to their license, and the praxis exam. We also I took into consideration social emotional needs, including all of our SEL curriculum. Professional development was a big one that we discussed, and not only what PD we're offering our staff, but focusing more on the implementation. And so just today we had a meeting and about our PD at the end of September, and sending out surveys to our staff after that, not only saying, did you like this PD, but how are you going to implement it with your students? State assessments, just providing the staff and the resources needed to keep our state assessment scores increasing, and then boundaries and the effects of forced transfers. So took all of that into consideration on kind of where I allocated money within the budget for this year. A look at our enrollment. We got figures from technology about 4:30, so these are all updated. Right now, we're looking at a loss of 120, and that's head count. So if you look at last year, the average student for us brought in 8,400. We're looking at over $1 million of a potential loss due to our declining enrollment. And so I think that factors in to why maybe revenue neutral wasn't feasible this year, and makes that a little more justifiable. So revenues that are not just new money, but additional revenue from last year to this year. We reduced 5 classified staff here at the ESC, 3 certified staff. We've got 33 long-term subs in certified positions, so they cost a little bit less than our certified teachers, so that frees up a little bit of money there. Reduction of 1 1/4 administrators. The general fund base is increasing $237. So that generates over $1.5 million in new money. But what I added for this presentation from last is in green, less the enrollment loss. So that was like thinking that our enrollment would stay flat. And so since we now know that that is definitely not looking like the case, that 1.5 million is going to be less the enrollment loss. Same thing for the LOB. It increased 240 per student, but we're going to have to take that enrollment loss into consideration there. So at the bottom, the total additional revenue available was over 3 million. And then that figure in green is taking off that $1 million loss due to the declining enrollment. So additional revenue is down to 2.088 million. Some of those notable expense increases we talked about was the property casualty, the ESCO lease purchase payment, the employer annuity. And I just want to mention that like all 3 of those are always budgeted. It's just last year we didn't have to pay that ESCO and that annuity. So it's not really a new expense. It's just something we didn't have last year. It was budgeted last year because we didn't know about the escrow account having funds for that ESCO lease project payment. And so that was just additional funds that I had available at the end of the year to transfer, which went into capital outlay. So that does kind of help realizing that we only have 2 million in new money. These expenses are a lot more than that 2 million. So just to like give you comfort that we're not, really not in the hole, we're just not gonna have a lot of transfers, money left to transfer at the end of the year. Health insurance only went up 2.5%, so that's great news. And then Grow Well will have hopefully offset the cost that it's taking to implement that program. We've seen a lot of participation in Grow Well already, so it's looking promising. And then the ELL curriculum adoption is going to be around 1.5 million, but funds are built up in that textbook fund for that. Again, super small, but this is what was published in the Garden City Telegram. And again, just has actual expenditures for 24 and then 25, and then what I've proposed for this year. And again, totaling that 49.9 mils. So that's all I have. Any questions? And you guys will take action in the regular meeting. So.
Thank you. Are there any patrons who wish to address the board? No?
Yeah.
Oh. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Do you need, she need to do the form or not?
She can say her name
Okay.
before she speaks.
Oh, yeah, please come up, state your name, and we'd love to hear what you have to say.
Maybe not.
Trust me, I would.
I'm Candace Camino. A lot of people know me by Candy. I'm here. I'm surprised there aren't more people here because the tax thing needs to be addressed. It's so sad. So in 2018, when I bought my house, I paid $3,675.17 in taxes. 2024, I paid $6,276.40 of an increase of $2,601.23. Last year, the mill levy went up 8.4 mils. Garden City Community College increased 3.958, almost 4 mils, of an increase of 15.67%. USD-457 increased 4.483 mils with an increase of 9.62%. I'm not sure why we had the increase so much, but I think it's got to stop somewhere. You guys are the only two. The state remained flat. The county increased 0.005 mils, which is 0.01%, and the city decreased. So our two expenditures for our taxes are mainly the school district and Garden City Community College. And at some point you just have to remember, us retirees, which I have several friends that are retired, we're now getting second jobs to pay our taxes. That's not fair to us either. So at some point you need to consider those before you approve all of these things. And I hope you do take this into consideration, because I know I'm not the only one that feels this way. So can you tell me what percentage you're going to increase this time? Why?
Well, this is your time for a comment. We really are not supposed to address. This is just your time to address us and let us know. If you have questions on that, you can definitely reach out to the office here, and they can definitely answer all your questions you have about that.
Okay,
And they will, I promise you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Candy.
Is there anybody else that has any comments? Okay, thank you. Are there any board members who wish to speak?
I just would like to say that I appreciate the way you showed the new money and then like the expenditures, and we still get complaints that our teachers aren't making enough money, and basically all of the new money could be directly attributed to the increase in teacher salary. So sometimes we're in a hard position. So I appreciate the way that you laid that out.
Yeah, I would just say, Jessica, I appreciate all the hard work on the budget. I know it's never easy. And I know that it's challenging to ask for more money, but our expenses are going up as well. But I do think that one thing that was highlighted in your presentation as our enrollment continues to decline. We, as a board, do need to address our facilities. Kind of reopen the conversation that we had last fall where we need to be more efficient with our building and our building capacities and potentially look at shutting down some buildings to help ease the burden of our taxpayers.
I'd like to thank Jessica for the work she's done too, the administration to do this. Also like to acknowledge that we pay tax. I mean, I pay taxes too, and I understand where you're coming from there. So I do think that we do our best to spend our money wisely and keep the burden on the taxpayers down as much as possible. And what John just brought up, I think is something that's going to have to be taken care of here very shortly. Again, we're going to have to go back and revisit the boundary, the grade reconfiguration, and the number of campuses that we have that we'll probably be looking at reducing those at some point in time here with the declining enrollment that we have. We just can't keep buildings open that, in my opinion, we can't keep buildings open that have 50, 60, 65% capacity that we're using and have empty classrooms. At some point, you got to bite the bullet and do that. So that's all, Mr. President.
I agree with the last two comments about the building usage for sure. We've got to cut somewhere. So there's some things we can do. So.
Yeah, and I agree. I agree with you completely. I'm a taxpayer as well. My taxes have went up as much as yours. I feel the burden as well, and I get it. And we're trying to maintain and keep good employees and keep the district nice and keep things running. And unfortunately, with declining enrollment, we don't get the funds that from the government, from the state, because our enrollment's down per student. Somewhere that money's got to be made up, and I agree. I think there's options out there for us to address some of these things, and that I do thank you guys and thank you, Jessica, for the work you've done. And I know it's a challenge to try to keep keeping our staff educated and trained and keeping them up to speed and paying them what they deserve and what they're worth is hard to do. So thank you for that. There's no other discussions. I'd entertain a motion to close the budget hearing.
Mr. President, I move that the budget hearing for the 2025-2026 budget be closed.
I'll second that.
Been moved and second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Opposed, same. Motion carries. This hearing is adjourned. Okay, now we will move on to the regular scheduled board meeting. Begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, well, please take a moment for silent reflection. Thank you. Okay, item C, approval of the agenda with the following amendments. C1, additional classified personal actions for consideration. Item D3.
President, I move to approve the meeting agenda as amended.
Any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand.
Wait a
Opposed?
second.
Oh, I'm sorry. Need a second, yeah. John second. All right, now moved and seconded. Now, all in favor, raise your hand. Approved, same, motion carries. Item D, consent agenda.
Mr. President, I move to approve all consent agenda items as amended.
Been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Opposed, same. Motion carries. Okay, item E, unfinished business. Item E1, approval of the resolution to adopt a local option budget percentage for the 25-26 school year. Jessica Nothern, CFO.
And I really don't have anything, just if you guys have any questions on that. So the resolution for the LOB, you just have to, if we exceed, the state average, or we're gonna meet the state average, we have to have the resolution to do that.
Okay.
So that's all it is.
Okay, I'd entertain a motion to approve the resolution to adopt the LOB percentage.
Mr. President, I move that the Board of Education approve the resolution to adopt the local option budget percentage.
I'll second.
Moved in second. Is there any discussion? There is none. All in favor, raise your hand. Opposed, same. Motion carries. Okay, item E2, approval of the 25-26 budget. I'd entertain a motion to approve the 2025-2026 district budget as presented.
Mr. President, based on the building needs assessment and state assessments that has been presented and considered in developing the budget, I move that the Board of Education approve the presented 2025-2026 budget with the exceeding of the R&R.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Opposed, same. Motion carries. Okay, move on to item F, is the next board meeting. The next meeting of the Board of Education will take place on Monday, September 8th at 6 p.m. in the boardroom here at the Educational Support Center. Item G, adjournment.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, raise your hand. Opposed, same. Motion carries. Meeting's adjourned.